The creative director of Helldivers 2 must be feeling like a proud parent watching their child successfully negotiate for more screen time, as fans' willpower has convinced Sony to backpedal on requiring PlayStation Network accounts, which seems to have more influence than a room full of cats deciding whether to knock over a vase. And if you haven't seen the tweet, in a post on X, Helldivers 2 creative director and CEO of developer Arrowhead Game Studio thanked Sony with the following tweet. Finally, I am impressed by the willpower of Helldivers 2 community and your ability to collaborate. Secondly, I want to thank our partners and friends at PlayStation for quickly and effectively making the decision to leave PSN linking optional. We together want to set a new standard for what a live game is and how developers and community can support each other to create the best game experience.
Or democracy.
Democracy
prevails.
Should we be pouring a cup of Liberty? I don't have a glass mug, or a coffee mug, excuse me. Glass mug, what is this? But anyways, PlayStation announced it had given up on forcing a PSN account on PC players, proving that even the mighty console giant can be swayed by keyboard warriors, proving that even Sony can't handle the wrath of gamers more united than a squad in a battle royale. Well, gamers were quick to rejoice Sony's decision with the following comments. So let's go ahead and show the first one. This one says, I hope this is a lesson to everyone. We have the power of consumers, the corporations beholden to us, not us to them.
They're bringing that chart as a cape in the game to commemorate this moment.
I know, it's like kind of funny and ironic how that's all working out. Overwhelmingly negative, and then within 3 days, make things change. It's a totally different era. Next comment we got here is, now everyone can leave Arrowhead alone. This is an absolutely insane W. Next comment here is, fans and developers won. Maybe next time, listen to the developers. Clearly, Arrowhead is in tune with gamers. Now, can everyone quit taking this out on Helldivers 2 developers? They ended up in the crossfire for this, and it wasn't fair to them, and they were doing what they were contractually obligated to do. While this is a victory for the players, you've left a lasting stain on your brand as a publisher. Many people have very little reason to trust Sony going forward. Moving the business before you understand the player base is never the right choice. Okay, Sony ain't going nowhere, dude. Please, there's no state.
Not anytime soon, at least.
No, okay, the dramatic. Okay, and the last one here is, great decision and glad it all got sorted out. However, it'll be interesting to see what percentage of the Steam reviews actually change their review. And yeah, you know, the player base has started to change back their negative reviews. I think it's more closer to the mixed side of the spectrum. But, you know, Henrik, I mean, who would have guessed that a game about interstellar warfare would find its toughest battle in the realm of online reviews?
Well, this is what happens when the gamers rise up against the people who are delivering what a lot of these games are trying to, call themselves as a service. Well, if we don't like the service, we're going to refuse to put up with that. And that's what a lot of the PC gamers especially have been willing to do in the first place, because when you really think about it, the biggest platform on Steam, on PC is Steam. And Steam is very heavily showing these reviews on the page for each game title. So the reviews actually matter a lot on Steam, because there's a lot of games that you'll see because, you know, you'll hear about them, or maybe a friend says, oh, you should go check this out. If you see the mixed or forbid the negative or overwhelmingly negative, you're going to say, maybe I'll skip on this one for now.
Right. But, you know, you might even have people that are tuning in from the United States, like where we're located, right? And you might go, like, why was this such a big deal? I only read the headlines. Like, this doesn't seem like a big deal. Just make a PSN account. Well, the problem was the game is also on a console and the PC. And the minute they required this mandate for the PSN, 177 regions around the world would no longer be able to buy Helldivers 2 because PSN isn't available worldwide, making PC gamers who originally bought the game on day one feeling betrayed by Sony's mandate. And I'm kind of wondering, Henrik, like, some gamers have been kind of speculated online, was this like Sony's way of like trying to harbor up, and boost the numbers of PSN accounts to kind of look good on the quote unquote
it
books?
definitely was.
Or, you think it was a mix of that kind of shadiness?
It's not necessarily shadiness per se. I don't know if that's necessarily the right word, but it is definitely some executives at Sony deciding, hey, we have these metrics of, okay, these are the people who are PSN members, and this is how much more likely they are to invest in other services, other games from us, just because they're PSN members already. And this is the metric of people who are not, and this is how much less likely they are to invest in our products. And I have a response for the people who think that it was such an easy requirement to fulfill. Well, in the United States, maybe it was easy.
Really easy.
In the UK, I believe it was the UK, you have to actually scan your photo ID to prove you're of age to make an account. That's so already wild. Really, really annoying to have to do.
Yeah.
And I have another thing to say.
Wow.
Asmongold, he said something really, really cool to one of his viewers in his chat. The viewer said, well, this is a super easy requirement. Why wouldn't it be a problem to do this? He said to the viewer, well, I'm going to ban you for now. And if you want to get unbanned, you're going to have to go sign up for our newsletter for my organization. And if you then sign up for it, prove to us that you've actually signed up for the newsletter, and then I'll unban you.
Yeah, but it's like, I get that. That's a really funny way to like view it as well. But then you can, sound like politicians like Nikki Haley that was once trying to run for this upcoming presidential election and then just dropped out. I don't know if you remember some of the words that she was trying to speak out to the American people, but she was stating that she goes, hey, listen, look, I think there needs to be an age restriction when it comes to social media. And I believe that you, the American people, need to upload your government ID online because we need to make sure that you're actually real. And that's what Sony is arguing. They were like, it was never about data harboring or trying to, boost the numbers up on, PSN accounts. It was really to protect from cheaters and hackers and really creating a safe environment for Helldivers 2. But I do have to say this, Henrik, because I think it's really, really important to also reference that, the Arrowhead CEO shouldn't be completely out of the mix when it comes to, it all being on Sony, because he was one of the people who disabled account linking at launch since it was preventing players from playing due to technical issues on the day one of the launch of Helldivers 2, but he didn't make people aware of the requirement, and they knew 6 months before the game launched that it would be mandatory. So on a level, he's kind of in the wrong, and I don't know if you saw this new petition, Henrik, but I don't know if anybody, the gamers out there, saw that there was a community manager that was working for Arrowhead, and he spoke out saying that he goes, I really shouldn't be saying this, but if you guys want to kind of sway the people over at Sony, why don't you guys post negative reviews? Well, he just recently got let go.
Yeah.
And I guess his name is Spitz. And so he's saying he didn't involuntarily just let go. He said that he was told that he was fired and he understands it. And it's kind of strange too, because he's online talking about how much he loves Arrowhead and how it's his dream studio and he would love to come back. And now that they've completely turned the tide, you're thinking, hey, like, don't you kind of want that guy on the team? But then I also get at the same time, you're like, dude, what if this never happened? You brought the worst kind of hell, to Arrowhead Gaming. So it's definitely very insane.
It's one of those things where if you are employed for a company, your job is to work for the company, right? And even if your moral standing is one way, if you say what the company doesn't want you to say, they're most likely going to let you go.
That's
you can't
true.
Work for a retail store and say,
that's true too,
don't buy anything here. Buy from this other store across the street. They're going to let you go.
No, that's a good point. But, like the community manager, Spitz, also came out and said, like, he's like, hey, listen, look, like, it's not something that I wanted to do, But, clearly, if we put enough pressure on this, then, good vibes will start to come back our way for our studio company. But it could have been really as simple as just Sony requiring some kind of form of a two-factor authentication instead of the PSN account, especially for those in the 177 regions. So
Are you
Sony
saying
has...
that as like a way for security measures to
Right.
make
If
sure that people are real?
Well, if
All
that's
that
what
sort of thing?
PSN's going to stand on, I mean, they're the ones saying we're only trying to do this because of the cheaters and hackers.
I mean, the
Okay.
thing is, though, does Steam bans not exist? Like, I think that there's already a system in place for that on the Steam platform, and the
Good
game is
point.
not free to play. So,
Yeah.
like, if you get banned, you got to go give the company more money.
Yeah.
Like,
And I think,
it's not as simple if it were a free-to-play game, for example.
So true, man. And this was definitely damage control for sure because, to me, I feel like this is definitely one of those games that's a runner-up as of the moment for potentially game of the year. They don't want any kind of bad publicity like this tarnishing their chances to really highlight this studio and potentially elevate them to the next tier of gaming. Because let me just put this last final thought into this topic. Helldivers 2 already ranks 7th in lifetime US dollar sales for Sony published games after just 2 months of availability. That's why they needed to correct the wrongs immediately. But
No, yeah, because it definitely is something that people are looking at and gonna be looking at come end of the year for Game Awards.
Big time.